Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nathan. I am a 25-year-old runner currently living in Seattle, and I just ran the Eugene half marathon about 2 weeks ago in 1:29:39, and the entire time I was using an app as my trainer and coach. Now, if you've been following along through this journey, through my videos, you'd know I've been using the Runna app for this entire prep. I started in November and concluded at the end of April. So essentially it was a 6-month prep. I've never used an app before. I've never had a running coach before. So this was a completely new experience for me, but that's what life is about, right? Trying new experiences. So I thought, why not? I've seen it online. I've seen influencers using it. From my own research, I've seen it's a viable option. So I wanted to test it out and see what happened. Now, like I said, I've never used a coach or any sort of training app before. I've done all of my bodybuilding, weightlifting, Ironman, my last half marathon last year, all just from personal experience, my own research. I've created it 100% myself, and it's gotten me pretty far. I've done pretty well for myself. But that being said, I wanted to put my trust into something else this time, which is exactly why I chose Runna. Now, if you want to go down the route of complete no-cost training plans that you find online, or something you use by experience, or using a free app like, say, Nike Run Club, more than welcome to do that. That can, serve you very well. Like I said, it's completely free. You can completely customize it how you want. There's a ton of pros to it, but again, usually you're missing out on that experience side of things. You have to do everything yourself. So putting the mental stress and energy into creating this entire plan, you have to make changes manually. You can't have someone else do it for you. So there's a lot of, pros and cons on that side. And then if you're looking for a running coach, a real life running coach, which is kind of on the other side of things, that's really, really good if you want someone to keep you accountable, if you want a human, relationship and connection, if you want a ton of years of experience to kind of guide you through this process. But then again, it can be pretty costly, anywhere between $50 to hundreds of dollars each month. So it's not for the faint-hearted, not for the light-walleted person. But again, if you are super duper serious, if you're pretty elite as a runner, that's obviously a pretty viable option. But kind of in between those two, I found Runna as the app and training coach I wanted to use. I had heard good reviews about it. It's pretty affordable at about $20 a month or $120 a year. It offers a lot of, customizing options. You can update things and get changes to happen immediately because it's obviously an app, so it'll do it immediately when you want it to. You can add different features in. You can get your plan just set up each and every day, each and every week, each and every month. See what your estimated goal race time is. And I think the most important thing for me when factoring in this decision was just having someone else, something else, creating a plan for me where I didn't have to wake up every single day, every single week, thinking, what do I need to run today? I just had this app that already had it set up, ready to go. I just followed through, and it allowed me to put all my time and resources into the actual run itself, into prioritizing fueling, hydration, recovery, which made it really easy to, get faster, get fitter in the prep, not worry about planning. So that's kind of why I chose Runna. And with all that being said, I'm just going to take you guys through the app right now to give you a little closer peek at what it looks like. All right, so I obviously have completed my Eugene half marathon plan, but if we press start new plan here, I want to show you kind of what it looks like from start to finish. So obviously you're going to have a goal. Mine was a race. They have a ton of different races in here you can choose from. We'll just put in the Eugene half marathon for now, even though it's set for next year. You can rate your running ability if you're a beginner or if you're elite, anywhere in between as well. I chose elite because I really wanted to challenge myself and I've been running for a solid, 6 to 8 months before this. You can confirm your injury history. Your boy, of course, does not get injured very often. Thankfully, knock on wood. I don't think there's any wood near me, so we'll just continue. You can add in your current estimated race time. So we'll just plop in what I ran in Eugene, which was 1:29:39. Go check out that video if you have not yet. How many days you'd like to run per week. I did 5 during my prep. Which days of the week you want to run. This was my schedule for my prep right here. Which day your long run is on. Let me know if you guys are a Saturday or a Sunday long run person. If you're a weekday long run person, you're crazy. That's all I got to say. And then you can choose when you want to start your plan. Down here, you can choose a custom start date. That's what I did. But they also have 16, 12, and 10-week plans as well. We'll just do 16-week for now. And then you can set your training preferences. This will include things like training volume and difficulty, as well as your current weekly mileage and your longest run, so it doesn't start you off at some sort of crazy distance that week. And then you get to generate your plan. Now, obviously, I already completed this plan, so it looks completed. But this would usually say, of course, like 0 out of 25 weeks, 0 miles out of the total. And then you get your entire plan schedule here. It's really cool to just be able to look at where you're starting, where you can see yourself, ending up, how many miles you're going to be running, what paces you're going to be running at. So it's all a pretty cool, summary that you can see here. There is an option to manage your plan where, again, you can make any adjustments you need to. You can add in things like strength, yoga, Pilates, stretch, and stability. And then on top of that, there's an option to, it doesn't show it here because this plan is already finished, but there's an option in this section where you can add B races, you can add travel dates, which will automatically update your training plan based on those circumstances. So if you want to run a 10K time trial, which I did a few months into your training plan, you can add that. It'll completely reconfigure your training plan around that and give you kind of like a short taper before that race. And then for like travel dates, you can add those in. You can add in what kind of runs you want to do while traveling, whether it's like the same workouts, easy runs, or no running at all. And it'll make updates to that, and then also update your race predictor time. So just little things like that make it completely smooth and easy to add things that happen in your life in the future into your plan to account for those. And yeah, it just makes the whole planning process a lot easier where you don't have to manually go in and change those things. Now, if we look into my first week of this training plan, you can see here it has the different types of runs. Most of my weeks consisted of 2 easy runs, a interval session, and a tempo session, as well as a long run on the weekend. So that's what a typical week looked like. It gives you kind of a rundown on the workouts, what it looks like, the warm up, the workout itself, any rest, any cool downs, and then it gives you also some little advice from the coaches out here. So that's kind of a nice touch. And then again, you can scroll through your entire workout and see, when your peak mileage weeks are going to be. Mine was week 21, which was over 40 miles. These were some pretty tough workouts. That 14-mile long run with half of it at half marathon pace was pretty brutal, but essential for my training. And then it'll have you taper off for the race. I will say, I think one of the, not necessarily a con, but I think it started out my pacing for my tempo and interval runs a little bit slow. And then getting into my peak weeks, it ramped it up pretty quickly. So I think, I don't know if my body just wasn't ready for it, but the ramping up of paces was pretty intense. Again, I had this on a pretty challenging setting, so that could have been why, but beware of that if that does happen. And then also, I've talked about this in previous videos, but it gave me a 4-week taper, which based on my research, I usually think of a half marathon taper as 2 to 3 weeks, but Runna gave me 4 weeks. And I don't know if I had trusted that at the time. I don't know if I wanted to trust it. My body was really, really hurting during those taper weeks. So maybe I needed it, but all is well because I felt really, really fresh that last week before the race, the last workout before the race, and the half marathon itself. I felt really fresh. So I guess it knew what it was doing, and I was able to hit my goal, obviously, of that sub 130 half marathon. It doesn't have the projected time here because I already completed it. But at the very beginning of my prep, it projected a 128 to a 132 half marathon, which I had ran a 138 back in September and then took a short break. So it was pretty smack dab on because I ran it in a 129.39, so almost directly in the middle. Again, you can't control that. Race day can be really crappy weather. You can be feeling really bad. You could be sick. You could have an injury. So you never know if that's going to be completely accurate. But for me, it ended up being quite accurate, which was nice. Now, the question you guys may be asking is, was the app worth it? In my experience, 100%. Of course, not every app is perfect. There are some things that either annoyed me or just could have been made a little bit better. But in the grand scheme of things, for how much you pay, the amount of mental energy that this app kind of took away from what I would normally encounter in terms of the planning, having to set it up every single week and day and month, and having to make changes to those plans when things come up, that is worth a lot of money to me. So paying this app to do that while also adding in a ton of different variety, different features, the ability to change things, having that community on there, I think that is completely worth it to me. Now, having this app doesn't negate you from the run itself, from fueling properly, from hydrating properly, from resting and recovering properly, but it does allow you to put more time and energy into those things, which I think is the most important thing, because while planning is important, it's not the most important thing of the prep. So allowing this to have its experience and expertise and to do that for me while I can focus my time and energy on the other parts of my training prep, that's just the most valuable thing you can have. Now, of course, if you don't have the money, if you're a beginner who just wants to use a basic plan or a free app like Nike Run Club, totally do that. You can get fitter and faster doing that 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you want, that human connection, if you want that accountability, if you're like ultra elite, top of the line, my audience probably isn't that. But if you are, then an in-person real running coach is also great. But I think the happy medium between the two, like an AI running app like Runna, really, really worked out for me. So all in all, an app like this, it's not going to give you meaning and purpose in your running. It's not going to make you more resilient. It's not going to make you more confident. It's not going to make you fitter or faster. You have to do that yourself, but it serves as a really good tool to give yourself flexibility and more energy in terms of time to focus on the things that really matter in your prep. And like I said, that's the most important thing. So for me, highly recommended. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to continue to use Runna going forward because it just saves a lot of time and energy for me. That's the most important thing. Time is money. Energy is money. Yeah, I really like it. And if you guys are interested in using it, I do have a 2-week free trial down below in the description. You're more than welcome to try it out. No strings attached. Again, this isn't sponsored or anything. I used it. This is all my own experience and opinions. So use it at your own will, but I really like it. I have friends who use it, who like it. So just give it a shot. Why don't you? And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have stuck to the end of the video, that is my review recap on my Runna experience for this Eugene half marathon. Again, I finished my race about 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm still kind of in this weird void where I'm only running a couple days a week because my body is still low-key recovering a little bit. So just doing a few easy runs every now and then. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated if I sign up for a race in the future, what things look like going forward. We actually just hit a year on YouTube yesterday. So I appreciate all of you guys who have been sticking along and following. Any new subscribers who are watching this video and sticking along for the future, thank you guys so much. It really means a lot. Small channel, but I'm loving posting these videos. It feels really, really good for me, fulfilling, and I'm sure you guys can take away something from these videos too, whether that's enjoyment, information, whatever. Keep following along. I appreciate all the support. I love when you guys like and comment, seeing your guys' reactions and feelings to the videos. Let me know if you guys are training for any races this summer. But yeah, with that being said, that wraps up everything for the video. So I'll see you guys in the next one.